Let's get to it here. We have a lot to talk about, but I do want to play just some catch-up really quick. The stream, this has definitely been quite the joke on this channel over the last few years. Every time I get done with a stream, it feels like something happens not even 5 minutes after I get done. And last night, we had a trade break, and that was Jared Kelenic. I mean, I did not see that one coming. I mean, that's just, Alex Anthopoulos at his best. My goodness, the guy just makes things happen, and no one knows what the heck is even going on, and he just comes out of nowhere with it like an RKO from Randy Orton. But taking a look here, Jared Kelenic heading to the Braves and as well as Marco Gonzalez and Evan White. Remember that name, Evan White? My goodness. I haven't heard that name in forever. Remember he got a contract when he was a prospect, right? Just didn't really quite work out. But going back to the Mariners, right, there is going to be a little bit of cash. And then we got Cole Phillips as well as Jackson Cower. But Cole Phillips is the piece in this deal that is most, at least going back to the Mariners, that's most noteworthy. But when I'm looking at this trade, going to baseballtradevalues.com, again, everyone, use the link is in the description, 10% off subscriptions for Baseball Trade Values right now. Use the code HIDE. You get 10% off. Give yourself a Christmas gift. But here is the trade. The exact money is not quite known going to the Braves. Sorry, did I say the Mariners are getting money? I meant the Braves are getting money. But as you can see here, Jared Kelenic leading the way, a value right around $20 million. Jared Kelenic, it looked like he was bouncing back last year. Then he got hurt. He kind of did that to himself, and he definitely has, owned up to that. But he was showing a lot of promise last year, and he's still only 24 years old, still a lot of years of control, barely making any money. So, you're going to see a bit of a decent value here for him still. But going along with him is Marco Gonzalez and Evan White. As you can see, major negative values with these guys. Now, basically what this is the Mariners are trying to get rid of payroll, right? And to get rid of that payroll, they attached Jared Kelenic to it. And you know what? Maybe from the Mariners' point of view, maybe they were just ready to move on, right? Jared Kelenic, he's had, a few years now to really get it going. And I'm sure, if they didn't have, all this bad money on their payroll, probably would have just ended up keeping him. But, at this point, they're very motivated to clear payroll. Who knows what the reasons are for that? I've been speculating a little bit. John Heyman was speculating too, saying, could they maybe be clearing some space to maybe add something in free agency? The first guy that came to mind, left fielder, $33 million. Remember, go to Eugenio Suarez too. They cleared off his salary, and they've cleared off around $30 million of salary off their payroll. That's juicy right there. And I thought one guy right off the bat was Juan Soto. Now they could use a left fielder. Hey, maybe. So probably not, I would imagine, but who knows? Maybe the Mariners come out of nowhere. If not Soto, maybe they could go after another free agent out there. We'll have to see. But that makes me just wonder, are they looking to add something? Are they looking to add a significant amount of payroll, and maybe they're just clearing off some other pieces as well, just to get them ready for it? Or are they really just trimming payroll, right? Could it just be that simple? So either way, the way I looked at this, it was a salary dump. But going back to the Mariners, honestly, Cole Phillips, this is a guy who just got Tommy John, but he's got a 70 grade fastball. There's a lot of potential in Cole Phillips. You're seeing a bit of a lower value with him right now. But again, good fastball, has a pretty good slider as well. So look out for Cole Phillips. But again, I'm just wondering, what could the Mariners be doing here? I wonder. Could it, maybe they're putting themselves in the market for something? I don't know. I'm not quite sure exactly. Remember, they brought in Luis Urias, so who knows? Are they actually planning on going with him in their opening day roster? Could they maybe be looking to add possibly someone like Matt Chapman? I don't know. Who knows? Could you maybe do Bellinger? I don't know. I'm just trying to think what could be some players out there that are probably going to be making anywhere from $25-30 million per year. So we'll just have to wait and see what the actual intentions are. But going back to the Braves here, you got Jared Kelenic. And one thing Alex Anthopoulos was talking about here, he was talking about Jared Kelenic, But he was also talking about Vaughn Grissom when talking about the trade. And, he was really, making it sound like Vaughn Grissom was going to be with the team next year, or maybe he could just be hyping him up, maybe to just try and get some other guys out there to maybe, I don't know, bump a little bit more when it comes to possibly trading for him. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to hype him up a little bit. I don't know. But basically, you're looking at a possible scenario where maybe you could have Jared Kelenic from the left side, and then you could have Vaughn Grissom, maybe do a bit of a platoon out there, right? Jared Kelenic, he did much better against right-handed hitters last year, so maybe Vaughn Grissom. I don't know, though. It just feels weird to have two young players with high ceilings in a platoon role. That just feels a little bit weird to me. So I don't know about that. Personally, I would think Vaughn Grissom is probably going to be on the move at some point. That's just the way I'm seeing it, and Anthopoulos was just kind of, getting his name out there a little bit more, saying, yeah, Vaughn Grissom, this is a guy that could absolutely be our left fielder next year. I think, honestly, he's just trying to build up any more leverage as he can. So we'll have to wait and see how this happens. But overall, hey, you know what? For the Braves, you have such a good lineup already that, honestly, I kind of like the situation for Jared Kelenic, where he can just kind of hang back, right? He doesn't have a lot of pressure on him. You got all these bats here in front of him, and he can kind of just focus on himself at the bottom of the order, and just kind of do his thing, and let's see what could end up happening. And this could end up being a huge move for the Braves. Could you imagine? I mean, Jared Kelenic, this is a guy, superstar potential. Let's see, man. Let's see him. And the Braves, they've done a great job over the last several years building up some of these prospects. I mean, look at all the guys that have come up recently. Guys like Michael Harris, Austin Riley. I'm just saying. So a lot of these guys, they have done pretty well. So let's see if the Braves can do something with them. Overall, I like the move, but I'm very curious about the Mariners. Very curious about the Mariners. Right now, estimated payroll is right around 120. So they got a lot of wiggle room. Let's wait and see what ends up happening. All right. Everyone, we're all caught up here. We're all caught up. I think we had a couple of super chats in here. Let me just make sure I get caught up on those. And what do we got here? What do we got? We had Robbie M. Becoming a new member. Thank you, Robbie, for signing up for a membership. Again, everyone, we have memberships on this channel. Think about joining. And the Lonely Wolf, who howls alone at the moon, has returned a $2 super chat. Braves don't plan on keeping Gonzalez. Oh, that was another piece I forgot to mention. That was also in the news as well. And thank you, Lonely Wolf. According to Ken Rosenthal, I actually had the article pulled up. I don't know what the heck I did with it. But, oh, no, I did have it right here. Sorry, I did have it pulled up. So, yes, Lonely Wolf, he said right here, Marco Gonzalez not expected to stay with the Braves. So, let's see what happens there. Maybe he can just get flipped to another team. I don't know. Maybe. I'm just saying. Maybe, perhaps. The Braves, they've been going for Dylan Cease. Could you maybe just flip Marco Gonzalez off to the, I don't know. Let's see what ends up happening. Let's see what happens. Thank you, Lonely Wolf, for that super chat. Let's get to the juicy stuff, everyone. Let's get to the juicy stuff. We're all caught up on the Jared Kelenic news. Again, apologies for not going live with that. I did a 2-hour stream last night, and when the news broke, I'm like, I couldn't do it. I was just dead. So, let's get on to it here. Now, let's talk a little Shohei Ohtani, right? We had nothing substantial from any of the big reporters out there. Nothing from Rosenthal, Passan, even Nightingale or Heyman. Well, we did have something from Heyman, or from John Heyman. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But nothing huge, right, when it came to the news. But there was something that grabbed my interest not too long ago, about maybe 2.5 hours ago. All right. So this was from Shi Davidi. He works for Sportsnet. He's a baseball columnist, and he put this out. Right. So a lot of people were starting to speculate at this, and this is only one thing I'm going to show you. I got one more thing after this. So taking a look at this again from Shi Davidi, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I apologize. But he says here, the requirements of the Blue Jays' pursuits are such that Ross Atkins moved a pre-scheduled media avail to Zoom and refused to say where he is. Due to a scheduling conflict, I wanted to ensure out of respect for each of you to not change this, and Zoom permitted me to do that. So very interesting, right? Because I believe he was scheduled to have an in-person media scrum, right? But he changed it to a Zoom meeting, and he wouldn't say where he was. Very interesting. Now, again, that's total speculation, but my guess, to be completely honest with you, I'm just saying, people in Shohei Ohtani's camp, they've been saying, hey, we don't want anything getting out. We don't want any news about meetings getting out. We want this hush-hush. So the fact that he is not telling the media where he was, I find that really interesting. And then, here's the juicy one. Again, I don't know if this is even reputable. I'm not saying this is, I'm just looking for something here. But I thought this was, and again, it's kind of from a bigger outlet, but I find it a little odd because it's something that you don't really ever see this outlet really report. But I'll just show you it. From Sports Illustrated, circumstantial evidence points to the possibility that Shohei Ohtani might be advancing in conversations with the Blue Jays. Again, I don't know. And this is from Stephanie Apstein, senior writer of Sports Illustrated. It's not some fake account. It's Sports Illustrated that's putting it out there. I don't know. What this, who knows what this even is, where they're even getting this from. What does circumstantial evidence even mean? I don't know. This is why I'm just showing you all to let you decide. I'm not telling you if it's anything good. I don't know. But I do find it interesting that we had the Ross Atkins, lack of information about where he was, what he was doing, and changing the in-person scrum to a Zoom. And then we get something like this. But again, this, I don't know, man. This is a little weird to me. Circumstantial evidence. But I don't know. So let's go to Stephanie Apstein's page. It kind of sort of seems like maybe Shohei Ohtani and the Blue Jays are making progress. The circumstantial evidence. So let's actually just go take a look at the article together. All right. So she says here, the Blue Jays are leaving a trail of breadcrumbs that indicates MLB's biggest star may soon sign with Toronto. Right? So it says here, Ross Atkins switched the scheduled in-person media availability to Zoom, then declined to tell reporters where he was. Ohtani's agent, Mez Balelo, I think I pronounced that right, was not believed to be in Nashville on Monday either. Ohtani is thought to be at home somewhere in the United States, perhaps with his dog. Okay, so I don't know. Meanwhile, Blue Jays manager John Schneider, who had been scheduled to address the media on Monday afternoon, had his session moved to Tuesday. A person familiar with that process said the change had been made Friday. A team spokesman did not return a request for comment as to whether Atkins' classified location and Schneider's schedule change were related. Atkins did not return a request for comment as to whether he was at that moment with Ohtani. Balelo, again, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, did not return a request for comment as to whether he was at that moment with Atkins. Very interesting. Again, we're just, speculating here. It couldn't, and again, he is meeting with teams. And honestly, really what this could end up meaning, again, going back to the original tweet, right? And, from what she said, from the article that she wrote, it kind of sort of seems like Ohtani and the Blue Jays are making progress. That doesn't necessarily mean they're making progress. What that really just could mean is just they're probably just having a meeting. I don't think that necessarily means you're making progress. I don't know. Who knows what that could mean? I'd say what this means to me is the Blue Jays are definitely in it. Because isn't it a little strange that Atkins, right, and their manager rescheduled or did something different with their meetings, right? Schneider rescheduling his meeting to tomorrow. Atkins was supposed to be in person, changes it to a Zoom thing. That tells me that the Blue Jays are definitely in the thick of things. I don't think it necessarily means that they're necessarily having they have a better chance than anyone else. So that's what I think. I'll let the rest of you, all of you in the chat, decide what that could mean to you, right? So I'm just reporting the news. But let's actually backtrack a little bit here. John Morosi this morning saying Braves are among the teams still engaged with Shohei Ohtani's camp. So I did put out a tweet, I believe a couple of days ago, that, or was it yesterday? I think yesterday morning, that, there was a sleeper team being reported, and I speculated personally, probably the Braves, because we had heard the Braves before, and maybe the Braves were still involved. Anthopoulos, he likes to be the sleeper, man. He likes to kind of hide in the shadows. So I thought, all right, it's probably the Braves. Well, here we go. Morosi saying the Braves are still engaged. Or could there still be another mystery team? I don't know. Buster Olney chimed in today. Only Shohei Ohtani seems to know where he's going to sign, leaving everyone else to guess. One player agent thinks he's going back to the Angels because of money, sure, but also because he is devoted to routine and no organization would offer him more autonomy than the Angels, right? Again, it's just speculating, so it's nothing crazy. Bob Nightingale, he had this to say, and Ron Washington, he had a media thing today. Ron Washington, when asked if he had been following Shohei Ohtani's free agency, I don't have much to say about that because I don't want to let anything out the bag. What that says to me is, again, Ohtani said, their camp said, we don't want any meetings leaked. So I think Ron Washington just accidentally leaked out a meeting. I think did Ron Washington just ruin the Angels' chances of getting Ohtani back? I don't know, man. But I'm kidding. I'm just saying, who knows? I have been on the record many times. Don't be surprised if he goes back. I told you all coming into this offseason, be prepared if for an Ohtani re-signing with the Angels. I'm just saying. Taking a look a little further, right? Oh, actually, no, that was the last little bit I had. Okay, so those are all pretty much the comments. Oh, and then one more thing. I apologize. John Heyman, let me pull up the article here. But then John Heyman kind of threw a damper on things. This one was a little depressing, if you ask me. But John Heyman wrote an article today. Not the news I want to see. Good grief. But he basically came out today and said Ohtani is not signing until after the winter meetings. Listen, Ohtani is holding up the market, right? You are not going to see any of these players come off the board. Yamamoto is probably not going to make a whole ton of progress until Ohtani comes off the board. So the fact that he is saying here in his article that he wrote today for the New York Post that a high-ranking executive with one team gunning for Ohtani says it's his belief that Ohtani plans to meet with teams after the meetings. The word is the bidding has already gone well north of $500 million, possibly on the way to close to $600 million. Goodness gracious, man. Like $600 million. Can you imagine that? That is freaking insane. But if there's one player that could do it, it's Ohtani, right? And honestly, when you really look at his FanGraph value for both offense and pitching, right? When you look at the two side by side, they both add up to, on average, the past few years, I believe it was in the 70 millions when you combine both pitching and the offense, right? When you combine those two, it came out to around an average of 70 million per season based off of his performance on the field. So is it really that crazy that he could get 600 million? I think what it is, I think personally you're going to see, this is just my own prediction, right? I think you're going to see a contract in the 500 millions, but I think there's going to be incentives put in the deal personally. I think you could see like a deal for like 550, maybe 525, 550, and then if he hits like certain innings marks, then he'll earn more on that contract, right? Maybe there's going to be options that could potentially make the entire value of the contract above 600. I think that's what it's going to end up being personally. I don't think it's going to be a flat $600 million contract. I see probably around 500, 525, maybe 550. That's already crazy. And then it has the potential to get above 600. We'll see. Lonely Wolf, who house alone at the moon, $5 super chat. Think about it. If Ohtani wants secrecy, what's more secret than signing with Atlanta when no one thinks they have a chance? Listen, I mean, you could say the same thing for the Giants. You haven't heard one thing about the Giants. Not anything. We haven't heard anything, right? Not even like they're interested in this or that or anything. The Giants have been ice cold. That makes me think they are working on Ohtani, right? Again, I personally believe getting back to, what came out here, right, from Stephanie Epstein, where they again go to the article here. You just go to her Twitter and the article is right there if you want to read it for yourself. But I do find it really interesting that Ross Atkins wouldn't say where he was, wouldn't make any comment if he was with Ohtani or not. He might very well not be with Ohtani, right? I mean, who knows? But he doesn't want to say anything, right? Schneider moving his meeting to tomorrow, his media scrum to tomorrow, right? Because you had a lot of managers, talking today. You had Alex Cora out there today. You had Aaron Boone talking out there today. Ron Washington, we just mentioned him. But Schneider rescheduled. So that makes me wonder, like, hey, maybe something came up and all of a sudden Ohtani, he's like, hey, you know what? I'm taking the Blue Jays seriously. I want to have a meeting. But I do find it curious that stuff got moved, that things got rescheduled. That's what I find interesting. So that tells me that they didn't necessarily have anything scheduled prior, because why would Schneider reschedule his media scrum to tomorrow? So maybe over the weekend, they gave the Blue Jays a call. They said, hey, we want to meet with you Monday, right? Can you guys meet with us on Monday? Yeah, we had media scrum stuff, but we can move that, right? That's what I think. That's what I think personally. I think the Blue Jays do not sleep on Toronto when it comes to Ohtani. I put out a tweet a few days ago. It actually got a lot of traction. I was having a lot of people comment on it, and I was trying to keep track of other things, so I kind of just stopped paying attention to the tweet itself. That tweet ended up getting a lot of traction. I didn't even realize that it did. But I put out like a very long speculative piece, thinking, maybe the Blue Jays actually make a lot of sense, right? And you can go to that tweet if you want to. I speculated because we had seen Bo Bichette, Vlad Jr., in the rumor mill. Listen, I had someone on that article as well, or not the article, someone on that Twitter thread. Kind of, people like to get their slam dunks in on Twitter like all the time. It's like, whatever. Even me sometimes, whatever. I'm guilty too. But I had someone coming at me on that one saying, like, why would the Blue Jays trade Vlad Jr. and Bo Bichette, or why would they sign Ohtani and then turn around and trade Vlad and Bo Bichette? Well, because those guys can bring you prospects or maybe other pieces that can, help fill the minor leagues back up maybe a little bit, or bring you some major league pieces, right? Because they also have players that could maybe fill in. I'm not saying that's the best way to do it. I was more just speculating, and I had just some dude coming after me on there. I'm like, what the heck is this guy talking about? I was just more speculating. I wasn't like saying it was like a good idea to trade Vlad or Bo Bichette. Just more find it interesting that their names have been coming up. And it also just so happens that Ohtani is coming up with the Blue Jays lately. I don't know. I'm just connecting dots, and I'm trying to, find any sort of avenue to where maybe this is all maybe connected a little bit. I could see a scenario, man, where they sign Ohtani and they just trade Bichette, right? And maybe they just plug someone else in there. I don't know, right? Because Bichette, he could bring you a ton of value back. I'm not saying that's the best thing to do. I'm just wondering if that's maybe what the Blue Jays are thinking. I'm just saying. And I know a lot of people were saying Cubs people were like making it up. But then you also had the Blue Jays come out and said about Bo Bichette, he's our guy for next year. Of course the Blue Jays are going to say that because they want to keep as much leverage on him as you can. All teams are going to say stuff like that, right? Except for Mozeliak today about Tyler O'Neill saying, we're probably going to trade Tyler O'Neill, right? You don't usually see guys come out and say, yeah, we're probably going to trade him. Because then you're just losing leverage there. I'm not saying the Blue Jays are going to trade Bichette. I'm not even saying it's a good idea. I just wonder if it's connected. I just find it interesting. Anyway, I'm rambling. So, let's get to it here. Ohtani, again, little things. Everyone's trying to pull hairs anywhere they can. They're trying to just get something. Could we maybe have something with Ohtani and the Blue Jays? I don't know. Keep your eyes open for Twitter. I think you could see something in the next couple of days. As for Heyman saying that he's probably not going to sign until next week, maybe, right? But who knows? Maybe things come together pretty quickly. How many times have we heard that in the past? Things came together pretty quickly, right? Maybe they're thinking, we're probably not going to have something until next week, right? But who knows? Maybe something happens, right? This happened with me with a car like a while back. I went to a car dealership thinking, I'm probably not going to get anything today. How many people in the chat? 700 people in the chat. How many times have you ever gone to a car dealership? Yeah, I'm just looking. Just looking to get some, looking to get some info. Probably not getting a car today. Like you genuinely thought, I'm probably not going to get anything today. I just kind of want to, look at things. You see something, car pops up, that's a pretty good deal. Oh, you know what? Let's actually talk about it, right? And it comes together like really quick, right? I wonder if that could happen with Ohtani. Again, Ohtani, I'm not comparing him to a car on a car lot. Don't even say that's what I'm trying to do here. But I just wonder if maybe things could come together pretty quickly. Who knows? But let's move on here. Let's get to a little Juan Soto, shall we? And when it came to AJ Preller today, that was pretty much the one question that he was getting today about Juan Soto. And he did have some comments here. He actually talked with 97.3 The Fan at 7:07 Eastern Time, and I got the clip for you. I'm going to play it for you, so let's listen to what Mr. AJ Preller had to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, not for today, just day one winter meetings, just hearing conversation from teams on a lot of different things. I think with Juan, again, I think anytime you have an elite player, and especially any player really that's on the last year, coming up to 5+ season, I think teams are going to check in and ask about that. And I think for our standpoint, we're going to listen on, we listen to anything in terms of, what we need to do to get our team better.
It's the most non-answer answer. It's basic public relations right there, man. Like, he's not going to come out and say, like, yeah, we're looking to trade Soto. Again, he's trying to keep as much leverage as he can. Of course he's going to say something like that, right? He's going to come out and say, yeah, anytime a player, right? Notice how he did that, right? He said anytime a player is coming up to 1 year left, you tend to get phone calls. Yeah, right. Yeah, of course, yeah, same thing here. But he's going to keep it to that instead of saying, like, Juan Soto, we're probably looking to move him, right? So he's basically giving you a non-answer and an answer right there. He kind of just has to say that.
And no real update, nothing really new today, on that front individually.
That's interesting, right? He said nothing new today, right? So I wonder if there... maybe there's something brewing. What does that mean exactly? Does that mean that nothing else really came up or nothing substantial came up, right? Maybe some other teams were getting in the mix, possibly. I don't know. Who knows, right? But there was a report from John Heyman today that 5 teams have made an offer for Juan Soto. So that came from John Heyman today, and he did list that the Giants and the Blue Jays were involved, right? And, of course, the Blue Jays right now, they're going two separate avenues right now. They're on Ohtani Avenue, and they're on, Soto Street, right? So who knows? I don't think they land both. That's just crazy. Could you imagine the Blue Jays land both? Ohtani and freaking Juan Soto? Like, what in the world? That would be ridiculous. But there was also, when it came to the Yankees, right? We've, heard a lot about the Yankees over the past few days. And if you have been living under a rock, right, the big thing was that the Yankees are not really enamored with the Padres' asking price, right? So there was, where in this article? Oh, wait, that's not the right article. In the article, oh, here we go. So the hang-up, the Yankees have considered the Padres' request versions of an 8-for-2 swap. Too steep, the source said. 8 players for 2. Soto is obviously a big one, but Grisham, all right? Remember about Grisham, right? 8 players, that's a ton, right? The Padres seem to be in salary dump mode, and the team acquiring Soto would pay all of the projected $33 million he's set to make next season. Dumping the 27-year-old Grisham would add another projected $4.9 million to the pot. The Yankees appear one of just a few teams who could offer the Padres financial relief and high-level quality starting pitching. All right, I'll get back to that in just a little bit. But Juan Soto today, there was a little something coming from his camp, right? There was someone that was talking with someone that knows Juan Soto, right? And actually, does it say here on the eve of this week's winter meetings, Soto's mindset was relayed to a New Jersey advanced media source who is a longtime big leaguer. In text with Soto late last week, the source says the 25-year-old outfielder can't wait for the Padres to complete a deal so that he can focus on getting ready for the 2024 season instead of being consumed with his uncertain future. I mean, listen, he's a human being. I'd want to know where I'm going to. Where am I working next year? I got to go to spring training here in a couple of months. Can you please get a deal done so I can know where the heck I'm playing next year? I think it's pretty reasonable. He just wants this over with, the source said. He doesn't care where he goes. He knows the Padres aren't keeping him, so he wants them to trade him. They go on to say here, he'd be happy going there. He meant the Yankees, the source said. But he'd be happy going to Toronto too. He says he doesn't care where he plays. He just wants to know who he'll be playing for. That's very interesting, right? Very interesting. So, now, getting back to this, right? Focus on this last part. The Yankees appear to be one of just a few teams who could offer the Padres financial relief and high-level quality starting pitching. Well, let's get back to what I was talking about with the Mariners earlier, right? They just cleared off right around $30 million of payroll when it came to Evan White, Marco Gonzalez, and Eugenio Suarez with the Diamondbacks trade. Right around $30 million. Soto making $33 million. They basically just got rid of like dead money off their payroll, right? Suarez, they got Urias. They feel like Urias can probably give similar, maybe not really, but like give you some production, maybe not Suarez exactly. I mean, Suarez, honestly, his slugging percentage was in the 430s. I believe, if my potato brain remembers correctly. So maybe they feel like they can get Urias back on track. Maybe they can get some power in different ways. But again, maybe they were getting rid of all that payroll to maybe make a run at Soto. Because guess what? The Mariners got pitching too. Last time I checked, the Mariners got a lot of young pitching. You got Bryce Miller. You got Brian Wu. I personally think Logan Gilbert's going to be too much. But you do got Miller and Wu. And I don't know, maybe the Mariners, look at the Mariners last year. Tough season. A lot of expectations for the Mariners last year. Everyone's talking about how the Yankees need to make a move. the Mariners got to make some kind of a move too. I'm probably wrong, right? But I'm just kind of trying to connect dots. I think the Mariners could be a pretty good fit here. Who knows? I don't know. We haven't heard anything, though. But maybe they could pop up. But the Mariners, again, they have young pitching, right? If I'm the Padres, right, and I'm looking at the Mariners, maybe the Mariners don't even want to part with, maybe they don't want Juan Soto. I'm just basically playing MLB The Show in my head. I don't know, right? But if I'm thinking young pitching, maybe the Mariners, they want to make a splash. Hey, you can make a package around Brian Wu, Bryce Miller. Those two guys, they can go into the rotation for next year for the Padres. Bryce Miller has more major league innings under his belt, so I would think maybe they would want Bryce Miller instead. But that's a guy who's got really good stuff. I could see the Padres really liking, someone like him, right? And if you kind of look, when it comes to the Padres, they want a major league ready starter. And when you look at the Yankees, right, Michael King, I know that everyone's kind of joking about that, but Michael King has more value than you think. But Michael King, right, the Yankees don't want to give him up. Drew Thorpe, that's a pitching prospect they don't seem to want to give up. At least they don't want to give him up with Michael King. I don't know if Clark Schmidt is really, moving any markets right now, but when it comes to the Yankees, if I'm the Padres and if I know the Mariners are interested, oh my gosh, all day, every day, I'm going after Bryce Miller, right? Even Brian Wu. I would much rather have one of those guys. Maybe, Michael King, he's good. I do like Michael King. But if the Yankees don't want to move him and it's down to, Clark Schmidt as the major league ready guy, I'm sorry. I want Bryce freaking Miller all day, every day. I'd even probably take Brian Wu instead. Clark Schmidt is fine. I don't know. I want one of the Mariners guys. Maybe that's just me. I'm just speculating over here. So could be interesting. Be on the lookout. But other than that, not really much else when it comes to Juan Soto, except he really wants to get traded now. He knows he's going somewhere. And I think that was a pretty big thing, too. We all know he's going somewhere. But the fact that it's coming from Soto himself, at least someone close to him, it seems, that he knows he's getting traded, I think it's only a matter of time. I think something for Soto gets done this week. That's just me. Let's move on to Yamamoto. Not really a whole lot when it comes to Yamamoto. When John Heyman wrote the article, he also suggested that since Ohtani is, from what he is hearing and what he's thinking, that he's not going to sign until next week, right? And we all know Heyman is not exactly correct all the time, right? I'm still waiting to see what will be the John Heyman tweet for this year. Oh, please. Can we just please have him say, Shohei Ohtani signs with whoever? Please. I just need that so much. Or who knows? What could even Shohei Ohtani be auto-corrected to? Can someone find that for me? Go on your phone right now. Go on Twitter. Type in Shohei and see if it auto-corrects and come up with, maybe something. I don't know. Ohtani, what would that be? Could that be auto-corrected to something? I don't even know. Does that actually auto-correct? I don't know. I need a John Heyman tweet like that. Please. Please. Here we go. Jim Bowden talking about Yamamoto. And Jim Bowden, this is another one of these media guys where, got to be a little careful when it comes to Jim Bowden. So, however, I don't think this is necessarily off base what he's thinking, because we did have Michael Marino on the show last week, and he also said, the bidding for Yamamoto could get above $250 million. I honestly think that with, what that guy can bring you, his numbers were so good in Japan. And, the way teams are with their analytics these days, looking at the shape of pitches, looking at the advanced metrics, right? I think teams have a really good idea that Yamamoto is going to be just fine, right? And people think he will probably be even better than Tanaka, right? That's a lot. So he is saying here, his market started at 200, 220. Now it's going to 230, 250. Now we're hearing he'll get to close to $300 million. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't think that's completely off base. And, taking a look here, if it does get to $300 million, remember, Yamamoto is 25 years old. Look at these deals, right, that, these guys are getting these days. Now, let's actually go to, right, let's actually go to the contracts right now. The longest is, I believe, Garrett Cole. I think he has the longest contract for pitchers. Is it Garrett Cole? I could be wrong. Yes, Garrett Cole has the longest contract for a pitcher right now at 9 years. I don't know if a team is going to offer him 11 years. That would be nuts. But he is only 25. That is one thing to think about, man. 25 years old. Maybe a team wants to offer him it. If a team offers him $300 million, I personally think the only way it gets to that is with like an 11-year deal, right? Like $27 million per year, according here, about $27.27 per year. That's a long contract for a pitcher, though. I don't know, but then again, down the road, with what pitchers are making these days, $27 million per season, that actually could be pretty good. But with Yamamoto, one other thing to think about, he is a little on the shorter side. I'm not saying he's like short, but he's shorter than, the types of pitchers that tend to hold up over time. So would a team really want to give him an 11-year deal, even a 10-year deal? I don't know. I could honestly see him getting 9 years, right? Garrett Cole kind of money, but it depends on how desperate a team is, right? And how good his agent is. If his agent is good, he'll figure out a way to get that to a 9-year deal, maybe 10, right? But I honestly think we're going to end up seeing somewhere from like 240 to like 260. That's where I honestly think. Maybe you could even get it up to like 270, 275. I don't think it gets to 300. That sounds a little crazy to me, man. $300 million for a guy that's never pitched in the major leagues. Maybe it could get, maybe you could have a club option at the end of it. Perhaps that could maybe bump it up. You could always structure it to possibly get to $300 million. I don't think he gets a flat guaranteed $300 million. That's just my opinion, right? Maybe you could do, I don't know, maybe you could do like 265, right? And then maybe you could do like a $35 million club option, right? Something like that. Or maybe you could do like a couple of club options at the end of it, right? Maybe like 35 mil a piece. Something like that. I think you could get it to 300. I don't think it's going to be guaranteed, though. So, Yamamoto, though, at the end of the day, who knows when we're going to see this guy sign. I personally don't think Yamamoto is going to sign during the winter meetings. I personally think that. I think the winter meetings are going to be all about Ohtani. And I think Yamamoto, he's going to be the next domino, right? Because a lot of Yamamoto's market is also connected with Shohei Ohtani's market, right? Giants, just saying. All right, the Giants are the one team that they're going hard after Ohtani. Accordingly, to the reports, they're going hard after Yamamoto as well. The Dodgers, of course, right? Dodgers, who at this point, it's like, is this guy just is Ohtani just going to be a Dodger? I don't know. I don't know what the heck is happening, right? I don't know, man. Seems like the Blue Jays are gaining more steam than the Dodgers recently when it comes to Ohtani. But let's get to some other guys on the market. And we actually had a new name come up in the news today. We haven't really heard much of Eduardo Rodriguez from John Heyman. Eduardo Rodriguez has been spotted in Nashville. Now, is he actually at the hotel or is he in Nashville? I would imagine that probably meant Nashville, like the city, right? Maybe he was spotted at the airport. I don't know. He's been meeting with teams since yesterday and has a couple more meetings tonight. I definitely think this is a guy that could sign. I think you could see these lower tier guys sign, right? Where guys that aren't really going to cost you a ton of money, but guys that, you could sign Rodriguez. Like if you're the Dodgers, right, and you sign Shohei Ohtani, I wouldn't be surprised if they signed Rodriguez too, right? Because it's not like Rodriguez is a ton. He's probably going to cost you, 20, 22 million per year. Like, I could see maybe something like that. Maybe gets a deal like a 4-year, maybe like $88 million deal, like something in that, or like 95, something in that range, right? He's not going to break the bank like Yamamoto is going to. That's pretty much my point. So I definitely think you could see a guy like Rodriguez possibly get signed this week. So look out for that. When it comes to Tyler Glasnow, 4 to 5 serious suitors for Glasnow with some offers already on the table, according to John Heyman, right? John Heyman, this guy's just, who knows what the heck this guy is doing at the meetings right now. My guess is Heyman is wandering around in the lobby, just keeping an eye on his phone. I'm just saying. But yeah, I'm not surprised with this. We've seen a lot of teams connect with Tyler Glasnow. The Cubs are the big one. We've seen the Reds come up. Could a team maybe like the Giants come up for him? I think the Rangers honestly could be a team to look out for, right? I mean, he does have the Rangers, they've had some question marks about their payroll, right? And their money situation, especially with like TV deals. I don't know if they would want to add that salary with Tyler Glasnow, but maybe personally, or right, if the Braves are thinking about flipping Marco Gonzalez somewhere, maybe the Braves could still be in the market for Tyler Glasnow, but it seems like the Cubs seem to be like that number one spot. Who knows? Maybe you could see like a random team pop up, like maybe the Angels. I don't know. I think the Angels, though, I think they're waiting for the whole Ohtani thing to get done. That's what I personally think, because that's a lot of money that you're committing to one player, right? And if Ohtani goes to the Dodgers or the Blue Jays or whatever, you got to think, honestly, I've said this before. James Hirota, I see you in the chat. I know you're going to listen to this one. You know what? Honestly, could Ohtani just not going back to the Angels be a blessing in disguise? Because you'd have all that money to spread, right? Maybe go land someone like Blake Snell. Maybe go trade for Tyler Glasnow. I don't know. I'm just saying, right? Who knows? I don't know. This is my thoughts. But look out for Tyler Glasnow. 4 to 5 serious suitors. The Cubs seem to be like a good spot. I know that's kind of the one team the media likes to focus on, but the Cubs have been connected with him for what feels like forever. So I'm just saying. But we'll keep an eye out for it. Moving on to the next story. This really isn't updated. I kind of just wanted to, remind all of you, Dylan Cease is still out there. And yesterday, this was reported last night, Dylan Cease trade market is robust. Dodgers, Braves, Orioles are involved, right? And, also you could say the Dodgers perhaps for Tyler Glasnow, right? Look out for the Dodgers, right? The Dodgers are always going to be a threat. We had something about Jack Flaherty today. I almost said Jeff Flaherty, my goodness. But look at the Pittsburgh Pirates getting involved. Look at the Pirates stepping up here. From Jeff Jones, he is of the Belleville News. And he says here, another nugget from the morning, the Pirates are monitoring the market around Jack Flaherty and are interested in bringing him in on a short-term deal should he be unable to find a longer commitment. Why not? Why not? This is kind of the avenue the Pirates, I think, always have to take. They kind of have to go for these, in my opinion, these unless they develop these guys themselves, right? They have to, based off of, their financial stuff going on, their small payroll. This is kind of what they always have to do. They have to go out onto the market, kind of look for these veterans that are maybe trying to land a short-term deal. And, hey, I could see this. Why not? He's been in that division. I don't see a problem with it. But let's move on here to Mookie Betts. This was an interesting story that came out today, and I think it's interesting in a couple of ways. Where Dave Roberts, he talked with MLB Network, and he said here, it's pretty safe to say that Mookie Betts is going to be our everyday second baseman. Look at that. He did say that he's probably, still probably could play some outfield and whatnot, but it seems like most of his time is going to be at second base. So let's actually pull up here. Let's pull up here. I see some super chats coming in. Thank you for all those super chats, and I will get to those shortly. I just want to go over this last thing with Mookie Betts and maybe one more story, and then I'll get to the Super Chats at the end. So here we go. Let me pull up the Dodgers right now. Oh, man. Are the Dodgers just... Are they just going to sign everyone? Are they just going to get Ohtani, Yamamoto? Come on. Anyway, moving on to the Dodgers, right? So they already have it updated here. So as we can see here, Mookie Betts, the second baseman for next year. Again, we'll probably play some outfield as well when guys need a day off, stuff like that. But right now, their outfield is interesting, right? Outman, you got out in center field. He'll be out there. And you brought back Jason Hayward, right? He'll go up against righties. And then out in left, you got Chris Taylor. But Chris Taylor, this is a guy, he can play multiple positions. He is your utility guy. I wonder if the Dodgers could maybe go out there and maybe go add someone for their outfield. I wonder. Dave Roberts did say it seems like it would be easier for the front office to simply just add like a right-handed bat to platoon with Jason Hayward. But, man, you got a lot of, other options out here. I don't think they bring Bellinger back. That's not going to happen. But, could you maybe look into, maybe adding an outfielder like Teoscar Hernandez? We've seen Randy Arozarena on the rumor mill. Could you maybe even somehow maybe get a package going? Maybe Arozarena Glasnow? Probably not. I would imagine you want to probably separate those two guys because they all, have pretty decent values. But who knows? Maybe that could be a package, right? And I could see that working out for the Dodgers. They could use another starter, right? And, hey, an outfielder like Randy Arozarena, I think that would be a pretty nice right-handed bat. So look out for that. But then I even speculated a little bit more. I'm thinking, man, there's got to be another guy out there. There's got to be one more guy out there that I'm not thinking of, right? Teoscar Hernandez, that's fine. Then there's also Max Kepler, but that's a lefty bat. So I don't know. They have been connected with Kepler, but again, it's a lefty bat. I'm thinking of righty bats. You know who I got on my mind? I got Luis Robert Jr. Why not? Why not? Why couldn't the Dodgers go do this? Could you imagine Luis Robert on the Dodgers? I'm just saying, man. They could definitely get a deal done. And the White Sox have pretty much said, hey, they're open for business. Anyone is up for grabs. They got the prospect capital to get this done. That would be awesome, man. If you could add him, that'd be crazy. So I'm intrigued with the Dodgers. I'm intrigued. Probably not, but I wonder. Who knows? Maybe a blockbuster. We'll have to see. But look out for what the Dodgers do with the outfield. So, one more thing I want to talk about here, and it's about my Red Sox. We still got almost 700 people in the chat. Did we get to our like goal? We did. We got to our like, or no, we didn't. I thought, never mind. Okay, we almost got to our like goal. We have a goal of 300 likes for tonight, everyone. We're at 224. If you can help us get to 300, I'll be a happy boy. And real quick, I'm just going to go over this last story, and then I'm going to get to the Super Chats, right? And we got a little something on my Red Sox. And Ian Brown, Craig Breslow, they were talking today. And we got a little something. You got a little something from Breslow. And he was asked, would they be willing to trade top position player prospects? The player development and scouting groups have done a great job in amassing position player depth. I think for the right deal, the answer is yes. We need to be willing to give up position player capital in order to get starting pitching and controllable starting pitching because it takes time for that pipeline to develop internally. You know who is going to give you a lot of years of control? He's going to cost a lot of prospect capital. Logan Gilbert. I'm just saying, man. Logan Gilbert. Bring him to Boston. That's the kind of guy that I think about because when you think of Logan Gilbert, right? And excuse my giraffe neck Robbie here. I'm just speculating. I'm always speculating. But when it comes to someone like Logan Gilbert, and I'm just using him as an example, you know, if you were to maybe go after someone else out there, sure. But Logan Gilbert, this is a guy, $66 million for the median value. He could go anywhere from, say, around $50 million, maybe even up to $80 million, right, according to his range. All right. Listen, with the Red Sox, I'm just saying, man, if they are willing to give up top prospects like Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, I really don't want to trade these guys. Logan Gilbert would be really nice. But listen, we've been in this position before. Remember Josh Beckett back in 2003? Or not 2003, sorry, 2005. I'm thinking Josh Beckett 2003 against the Yankees. He was amazing, right? No, go back to 2005. Remember, they give up Hanley Ramirez. Right? John Lester almost became part of that deal, but they, thank God, they ended up taking Anibal Sanchez as well. The Red Sox, they have made a move like this before. I'm not saying Logan Gilbert is Josh Beckett. Josh Beckett was just, that was something else, man. That guy, I mean, scouts say Josh Beckett was the best pitching prospect they had ever seen. Logan Gilbert definitely has a lot of good things about him, right? Scouts have said a lot of good things about him in the past, but he is definitely not Josh Beckett, so I'm not comparing the two. But when you look at how Logan Gilbert's been a workhorse, he's put up some pretty solid numbers the past few years, right? Like I said, workhorse, giving you a ton of innings, but he has a ton of control. That is what the Red Sox do need. Could maybe you do Marcelo Meyer, right? I wonder, but again, I would imagine the Mariners would want major league ready guys. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know, man. I don't. Marcelo Meyer, that'd be a really good prospect for the Mariners to get. But is that really something that would be good for the Mariners right now? If they really wanted something right now, you know, Jarren Duran, in my opinion, I don't think they'd trade Casas. I don't, right? They won't trade Casas. I don't think they trade Casas. No, they're not going to do that. No, they can't. I would think Jarren Duran is probably the guy you go with, right? Because they need to trade outfielders. They got a ton of outfielders right now. You could do Duran, right? You could send back, you know, maybe a cost-controlled starter like Cutter Crawford, Tanner Houck. Throw in a couple other pieces. You know, I don't know if the Mariners would like that. But I wonder if a guy like Logan Gilbert could be available, especially if they are okay with parting with top prospects. Very interesting. I think that puts the Red Sox in a very interesting spot. Everyone, before I do get to the Super Chats, I'm just going to go over tonight's sponsor, and that is Underdog Fantasy, right? Well, of course, we don't got baseball right now, but we got all the basketball going on right now. And, you know, for me personally, I like the pick'ems, right? I do the drafts. I actually did a couple of drafts. I actually did one draft for the playoffs, and I actually won a decent amount of bucks, man. I ended up winning like a couple $100 on a playoff draft. I had completely forgotten that I entered this draft, and all of a sudden I got a notification on my phone saying, you won $200. And I'm like, huh? How did I win $200? I'm like, oh yeah, I did this draft. But I tend to lean toward the pick'ems, and there's a bunch of different ways you can go. As you can see here, we got a game starting in 15 minutes. So Zion Williamson, right? Brandon Ingram, those are the nice ones to pick when it comes to the Pelicans. CJ McCollum, right? So there's a whole bunch of different players you can go with. There's a lot of West Coast games about to start up, and then you got some games on for tomorrow, like, for example, the Knicks, right, the Bucks. So definitely go check this out. I do suggest the pick'ems. I feel like, to me, it's, I don't know, it's kind of the more fun way to go with it, but I also do like the drafts, right? I think the drafts, like I said, I have done some drafts before. Right now, you are pretty limited to basketball, and then you got to wait until this weekend, so you know, go try it out. Go see if you can win yourself a few bucks. Again, the promo code is HIDE. The link is in the description. Using that promo code, it gives you a double on your first deposit, up to $100. But as always, play responsibly. It is fun to win some money, but I think it's even more fun when you play responsibly too. Maybe some of you, I don't know, maybe you don't want to. Maybe you want to live on the dangerous side. Go try it out. But no, please play responsibly. Anyway, let's get to it here, everyone. We got some super chats to go through. We actually got a lot of super chats here. Goodness gracious, I fell behind. Here we go. We got to go back to Andrew Shell, $9.99. He says here, could you see Grissom and Kelnick for Verdugo? Then it would fill the Sox hole at second and right field. Nah, I don't think they flip Kelnick. I don't think they do that. I don't think Grissom, I think, could be a nice bat. Why not? I wouldn't mind Grissom, but the Red Sox need pitching. So that's what I think is going to be the big focus. And I wonder if Grissom ends up being in a package involved for someone like Dylan Cease. But I could definitely see someone like Grissom, right? The problem is the Braves, they want pitching. The Red Sox, they don't really have a lot of pitching to trade right now. So that's just my opinion. I don't see that happening, Andrew, but thank you for that super chat, $9.99. Thank you so much. The Lonely Wolf, $5. Think about it. If Ohtani wants secrecy, what's more secret than signing with Atlanta when no one thinks they have a chance? Oh, did I say that one earlier? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Atlanta, like I said, they're always in the shadows, right? Who knows? Could they come out of nowhere? Give them some crazy deal? My goodness. What else we got here? We got Stack Pack Matt Adventures. He became a member for the 13th month. Lonely Wolf, he became a member for the 25th month. Thank you, you two. I appreciate you. Jimmy Productions, $4.99. I heard the Nationals are interested in Noah Syndergaard. I'm not surprised about that. I wonder if you could see Noah Syndergaard, guys like Jack Flaherty, maybe Mike Clevinger, possibly. Like, guys on that tier. I could see that. They need to add some pitching, in my opinion. Ashu Saini, I'm so sorry. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. I apologize. You said here, I'm a bit late, but Ohtani did follow Logan Webb. I did see that. But again, we have to take it with a grain of salt, as Judge did the same thing last year. I don't really, when it comes to following players or teams, I think a lot of them find it funny. Right? I don't think Ohtani, remember, it's a brotherhood there in Major League Baseball. It's a fraternity, right? These guys, they're all in the game of baseball, right? So, honestly, Ohtani, Logan Webb, he actually did comment on it saying that he, followed Ohtani. He would love Ohtani to come to the Giants. So, Ohtani probably went on his Instagram. He's like, oh, Logan Webb followed me. Oh, okay, I'll follow him back. Probably didn't even know there was anything to it. So, but I agree with you. I absolutely agree. You got to take that stuff with a grain of salt. Remember last year, didn't Aaron Judge unfollow the Yankees at one point? Is that something that, if I remember correctly, that's what happened, right? But yeah, you can't really take that stuff seriously. I think a lot of these guys too, they tend to, I think they honestly find it kind of funny, honestly. Matthew Villarreal, $9.99. I heard talks of Ha-Seong Kim getting traded for Edward Cabrera. Now, the Padres did that and somehow got Michael King and Thorpe. Would they be better? That's a lot of pitching, right? They need pitching. I could see them getting creative. I did mention Ha-Seong Kim the other night. What was the trade that I did? Does anyone here in the chat remember what I proposed with Ha-Seong Kim? I can't remember. Did I suggest a trade with the Marlins? I don't remember. I don't know. But yeah, I could see Ha-Seong Kim being bait, right? Because they got a lot of position players there, and Kim has decent value where he can bring in someone like Edward Cabrera. That makes sense. But yeah, that would be a lot of pitching, man. If they get Cabrera, even Trevor Rogers, something like that. I see you in the chat, Emmanuel, Trevor Bauer. Honestly, could we actually maybe see the Padres sign Trevor Bauer? I don't know, man. They really need pitching. I don't know, man. Probably not, right? Because they're trying to clear payroll. I would think Bauer's probably going to be... Who knows what Bauer ends up getting? I would imagine Bauer probably gets like 15, 18. I don't know. Something in that range. Who knows? Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. It's your boy, 1999 super chat. Thank you, my friend. As an Angels fan, I'm more against re-signing Shohei. It'll be Trout 2.0, and with Artie still in power, much won't change. Sadly, I want to see him be great on a playoff team. It'll be cool to have him back, but long-term probably won't work out. I agree. I think that would be the best thing, to just have Ohtani go somewhere else. Listen, you gave Ohtani the first years of your career, or of his career, right? Angels fans, you did him a service, right? Listen, this guy is going to be great. But I think the Angels, honestly, they need to move on from it. They do. Because it's, at the end of the day, like, that much money, and they need to improve the team, right? Of course, they would like to bring him back, because the guy's just going to bring in so much revenue for you. Personally, though, I don't know, man. You got that Rendon contract on there. I think it's best for the Angels personally to move on, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to, I've said that a million times, but Ben Lowry, here we go. Ben, $4.99. Sorry I'm late. Heard the O's are looking at a 3-team Soto trade with the Mariners. Reds considering going in on Bauer and Morton. Sox getting Yamamoto. Yankees for Bellinger. Man, you are persistent, my friend, when it comes to Juan Soto with the Orioles. I love it. I love it. Honestly, I actually really like the idea of Trevor Bauer going back to the Reds. I do really like that idea because obviously he did really well there, and it seemed like everything was fine while he was there. So I could honestly see that, and the Reds need pitching, right? They know what it is with Bauer. I think they would keep him, keep him in check, right? I think that's a very good possibility. I did say Diamondbacks. I don't know, man. We'll have to see. Ethan, how you doing, my friend? $5 super chat. Hearing buzz at the car. There's that buzzword. I see your next one, too. You became a member. Use the buzzword in my super chat just to mess with you. Hearing buzz that the Cardinals were in on Glasnow. I could see that. I hope they don't. Guy hasn't pitched 90 games in 8 seasons. That's why I think Glasnow should not be your number one addition, right? I think if you add Glasnow, you need to add something else, right? Like, for example, let's say the Dodgers get Yamamoto. Glasnow, you bring him in with Yamamoto, right? Glasnow should not be your number one addition. He'd be a nice piece to add, but you can't count on him. All right. Ethan, thank you so much. CJ LaChapelle, $10 super chat. What is the most clueless thing a fan or fan base did in recent years? In 2022, a Mets fan posted a swastika over a picture of Max Fried. Well, that's weird. I didn't know that. Honestly, there's some very oddball people out there, man. I don't know. I personally can't think of anything. I know there's been, fan bases that throw stuff on the field. I don't like that. I think that's a little silly, in my opinion. That's something I can think of right off the bat. But yeah, that's a little much. I don't know. I didn't even know that about, Max Fried. Yeah, that's a little ridiculous. Some people need to calm down. Jimmy Productions, $4.99. The mystery team for Shohei Ohtani is the Arizona Diamondbacks. I got to disagree with you there, Jimmy. Listen, I would love it. I would love it if Ohtani went to the Diamondbacks. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I like a splash like that, something that no one else saw coming. I'm just saying. But, yeah, I don't see that. I hope the Diamondbacks do something. Remember they were in the rumor mill last year for Xander Bogaerts? Just saying. I wonder if the Diamondbacks make a splash, and not just Eugenio Suarez. Everyone, I'm going to start wrapping things up here. I want to just say, as always, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you for always stopping by. Always nice seeing your friendly faces in the chat. Always greatly appreciated. Maury's Life with a super chat coming in at the buzzer, a walk-off super chat. $4.99. 3-1 Shohei Ohtani hits one deep to right field. It's headed to the Cove. He's done it again. What every Giants fan wants to hear. Shohei Ohtani is a San Francisco Giant. I like it. I like it. Maury's Life, thank you so much for that. $4.99 super chat. I appreciate that. Gotta like you say, CJ in the chat. You gotta love that walk-off super chat. Gotta love it. Everyone, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it as always. If you can, on the way out, hit that like button for me. Did we get to 300 likes? Did we do it? No, we're at 288. Come on, we need 12 more likes, everyone. Help us get there on the way out. I'll love you forever. And everyone, hit the bell. We'll be going live this week quite a bit, breaking something, or we'll be doing our nightly show. Share the show if you can. Subscribe if you are new. Join the family. We're talking baseball here pretty much every single day. But everyone, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If anything does happen in the next couple of hours, and if it's big enough, I'll come back on and we'll talk about it. So definitely hit the bell so that way you know I'm going live. Everyone, have yourself a great night. Thanks again for stopping by, and I'll talk to you next time.